Forget everything you thought you knew about the AI race. Seriously, toss it out. We are way past building clever little chatbots now. Over just the last 30 days, the absolute frontier of technology hasn't just inched forward. It is completely relocated to a whole new universe. Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're cutting straight through the noise to show you the staggering reality of the intelligence explosion unfolding literally right now.
Consider this, right out of the gate. Over 80% of the code currently being merged into Anthropic, which is, one of the top AI labs on the planet, is not written by human engineers. Nope, it's written by their AI model, Claude. In less than 2 years, human developers went from writing every single line of code to essentially acting as auditors for the machine. It's wild.
Section 1. The Intelligence Explosion. Moving past AGI.
So this past month, Google DeepMind completely shifted the goalposts. They're actually treating AGI, human-level intelligence, as just the starting line, not the finish line. I mean, they recently dropped a massive 57-page paper where the introduction literally gives summary instructions to the future AI systems that will be reading it on our behalf. For the very first time, top-tier scientists are writing academic papers directly to digital intelligences.
Section 2. Mapping Artificial Superintelligence. Defining the ultimate goal.
So, if AGI isn't the end goal anymore, what exactly are we aiming for? Well, the answer is Artificial Superintelligence, or ASI. And we are not talking about an average human doing average cognitive tasks here. We're talking about a system capable of matching the output of tens of thousands of the smartest minds on Earth, all perfectly coordinated, working entirely on a single complex problem for a solid decade, and doing the whole shebang in an instant.
Google has outlined 4 fascinating and honestly somewhat terrifying pathways to hit this superintelligence. First is pure scaling, basically just throwing exponentially more compute and data at current models. Second, algorithmic paradigm shifts. Third, recursive self-improvement, which is where AI actively builds the next generation of AI. And fourth, multi-agent collectives forming massive, high-speed digital corporations.
Section 3. AI building better AI. The recursive loop.
Let's talk about pathway number 3, recursive self-improvement. The crazy part? It is already happening. This isn't some sci-fi movie pitch for the year 2050, it's today's reality. Over at Anthropic, a massively complex debugging incident involving tens of thousands of crashed jobs was handed straight to Claude. Something that traditionally took highly skilled human teams days to untangle, Claude handled completely autonomously in just 2 hours. To put this into perspective, look at recent AI safety research tests. 2 expert human researchers grinded for an entire week and managed to recover 23% of a performance gap. Autonomous Claude agents? They recovered 97% of that exact same gap in a fraction of the time, and it cost just a few bucks an hour. The system is literally converting raw compute power into measurable, elite-level research.
All of this leads to a pretty dire warning from Anthropic themselves. They're saying we are entering an era where AI accelerates its own development. Think about it. When every new step speeds up the next step, progress compresses. Years turn into months, months shrink into weeks, and weeks into days. It creates this frantic, totally unstoppable pace that moves way faster than regulators or even the developers themselves can fully wrap their heads around.
Section 4. The Open Source Disruption. The global race accelerates.
Now, this global race is actively breaking all the established rules, largely thanks to a massive international open-source disruption. It's not just American tech giants controlling the frontier anymore. DeepSeek, a lab out of China, just dropped their 685 billion parameter version 3.1 model right onto the open internet. It matches elite closed systems like Claude Opus on coding benchmarks, packs a huge context window, and get this, it's 68 times cheaper to run. Elite intelligence is no longer locked up behind corporate paywalls.
But hey, it's not always about massive scale either. A tiny startup over in Singapore recently released an AI model with only 27 million parameters. To put that in perspective, that's less than a quarter the size of the original GPT-1. Yet, it actually beats systems 4 times its size on complex reasoning tasks. How? By mimicking the loop-like strategic thinking of a real human brain. Intelligence is getting smaller, smarter, and infinitely more accessible.
Section 5. Entering the physical world. AI gets a body.
So what exactly happens when all this hyper-efficient brainpower escapes the data centers and enters the physical world? Well, we get an absolute explosion in robotics. We're rapidly moving away from those old, clunky, pre-programmed actions.
The new gold standard is the Large Behavior Model, or LBM. Instead of coding a robot's arm or leg separately, one unified neural network acts as a central brain, controlling the entire robotic body all at once, just by watching human demonstrations.
The hardware has finally caught up to the software, folks. Boston Dynamics is now using a single LBM to have their Atlas robot pack boxes seamlessly. Figure 02 was recently filmed walking flawlessly over broken pallets while completely blind, relying entirely on balance and motor sensors. Startups are launching universal open-source operating systems for humanoids, and China just laid out a $1 trillion roadmap to deploy this embodied intelligence across their entire economy. It's a game changer.
Section 6. What happens next? Bottlenecks and breakthroughs. Now, you might be wondering what actually stands in the way of this digital civilization taking over every single industry. Google's ASI paper points out a few massive frictions. First up is the data wall. We're literally running out of high-quality human text to train on. Then you have severe physical constraints, getting enough chips and energy to fuel the grid. There's also the abstraction barrier, which asks if AI can invent entirely new concepts from scratch. And finally, deliberate slowdowns through government regulations and public pushback.
But listen, even with these potential bottlenecks, the paradigm has irrevocably shifted. Intelligence is no longer just a biological human trait, it is an industrial, highly scalable process. Think about it. Just like the steam engine amplified physical human labor, AI is now amplifying the process of thinking itself. We are laying down the infrastructure right now for the most transformative era in all of human history.
Which leaves us with one staggering final question to really chew on. Are humans still controlling this intelligence explosion? Or have we already crossed the threshold where we're basically just supervising it? Really think about that as these new technologies roll out over the coming months. Thank you so much for tuning into this explainer today. If you want to keep exploring the absolute edge of the future with us, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.